you bring up being reluctant when Rich called you and not wanting to take the job and not knowing about it. And because of the work you've done over the past 20 years, the sport on the women's side has really grown. We have colleges, high schools, more states have it. So there's more males that are getting opportunities, kind of just like you mentioned, not maybe seeking them out, but there's an opportunity. What's your advice for those gentlemen?
I would say just jump in. I mean, you got to understand there's differences, right? But if you number one, if you want to help, there's a place for you, right? And I think, you know, I think that that's something. One of my first years here, we had a coaching clinic here with USA Wrestling, and one of the coaches asked me after a session one day. He said, I don't know if I belong. I don't know if I belong." He was in a high school position in the state of Texas, and he said, "I was never a state champion. I never won anything. Do I really belong in this position?" And I was like, "What does that matter? Like, what is? I mean, my accolades as what I did as an athlete got me in the door, right? And it gave me an opportunity. But do you think these athletes care what I did as an athlete? Some of them don't even know if I wrestled, right? I mean, they don't even know who I am. Now the young ones come in and say, "Who's the old gray-haired guy in the room?" Right? I mean, literally. So we were in camp. We had a development camp, and I'm just during our development camp, I take a back step and I let our development coach, take the lead, and I'm just there to help. Tell me where you need help with. And after practice, one of the girls came up and asked if I could help her with an underhook, and we're working for like 15, 20 minutes, and I'm going through underhook offense and stuff like that. And then afterwards, she said thank you, and she shook my hand. And she said, "Now, who are you?" and I told my assistant coach Jessica Medina, I said, we assume that they know, right? But I said it's interesting because they don't know, they don't care, right? They could care less. All the athlete cares about is, can I help them, right? They don't care what my accolades were, what I did. Is there a place for me, this or that? If you want to help, there's a place for you. So for a younger coach that wants to get in and there's an opportunity for him in the sport of women's wrestling, I would say jump in, right? And yeah, there's some things you have to do, and I don't think it's a gender thing with life in general right now. You got to safeguard yourself, right? And so you don't have one-on-one meetings. You don't put yourself in a closed door room with an athlete, right? And I don't care if I was coaching men, I would have the same rules, right? I mean, you just don't do it this day and age, right? And so I think that those things you become a little bit more sensitive to, and you understand that there's a different communication need with female athletes. I think there's a different way to deal with conflict with a female athlete. There's a different way you address the team or individuals within a team. Um, I think there's different things like that. I mean, I think the importance of the sport of the importance of sport for a female is a lot different than it is for a male, right? I mean, really. I mean, the social part of it for a female, especially a young kid, a junior high, a high school kid, this social aspect of this sport is way more important than what they're doing on the mat, right? We always assume winning is the most important thing, right? That's not necessarily the most important thing. That's a piece of it if we're doing things right, right? But the more important thing is probably, the real riches of the sport is probably everything else, right? The benefit they're going to get, the social part of it, the learning how to be an individual as a part of a team, right? I mean, there's so many benefits from being involved in this sport. Um, that winning and losing is only a part of it. So I would just say that get involved, and coaching is coaching, right? Now there's motivating is motivating, teaching is teaching. Now there's different ways of communication and things like that. Yeah, but I think they're going to enjoy it. I mean, Steve Frazier, the former Greco coach for Team USA, um, Steve always would be amazed. He said, I've been here like at the time, like 10, 12 years. And he said, I never get gifts from my athletes. You know, he said, your athletes are bringing you in this and that, and the next thing. I mean, they're appreciative. When I came in, the girls were so grateful for just having one-on-one attention, and just the attention on them, and not the attention like, okay, we're done with the guys now. What do you need, right? And so they were so grateful for that, and you felt that. I felt that. I knew that. I knew that. Having being in front of them every day and teaching them, that they were giving me every bit of attention that they could, and they wanted that help. And so I think that a young coach getting involved, they're going to see some differences, and they're going to learn a lot right away. But it's going to be a great ride for them. I don't think it's going to be a bad ride. I mean, and I don't, I know there's a lot of different situations out there, but I think they're going to learn a lot about themselves, and I think they're going to. The most important thing, they're going to help a lot of individuals if they're wanting to help, and they're that selfless, and their purpose and what they're doing, then they're in the right place, right? And they're going to be able to help a lot of people.